Hello and welcome to Cure Tinnitus show number 26 with our resident expert, Julian Cowan-Hill. How are you today?
I'm very well, thanks. Good to be here. Gosh, 26 shows. That's amazing.
Isn't it incredible? Did you know we had a member that kind of started at show 1? Like 4 months ago? He's writing comments on like show 5. Great! I'm like, whoa, that's so neat, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. And I really enjoy it. Just nice to acknowledge that it's really great to be able to do this. And it's great getting all the positive feedback. Yeah, keep up the good work.
Well, one of the things that I do hope will happen is that there's, and I don't know if it'll actually work, but supposedly if you train the software to recognize the voices fairly well, it does a pretty good job of transcribing. And that would make searching on, for example, the word sleep. Wouldn't it be nice to know, that in these 6 shows we talked about sleep? Do you know what I mean? And then you could kind of find the spot.
Gosh, that would be a very good referencing tool.
Yeah. So we're looking into that. A little bit of member news is that over the next few weeks, curetinnitus.org as a website itself should be upgraded fairly significantly. It should be faster. It should have more member features. So that's happening. We've gotten some. It's just so nice to get the member questions, and this time I'm gonna start with, well, I don't know if the member is allowing us to share the member name. She's female, but I'm gonna call her member X.
Okay.
But we have a few names as well, so that we can use normal names. But on this one, I didn't check, and we're gonna start. And it's actually kind of directed to me and Paul Toby, who is a pianist and a musician, and I know this member is also a musician. But I wanted to run this past you, Julian, and see how you respond. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Because there's a key word that I just really dig with this one, and we'll see how the show goes with it. Okay. It's really in the light of Paul Toby's stuff, and in particular in the context of being a musician. From what I can gather, Paul Toby suffered severe, even catastrophic tinnitus and overcame this through refocusing his attention on what he loved, namely being a concert pianist. Actually, I'm making sure that all the technology is set so that we are recording, so that's good. So my question to you, and to Paul, and to you, Julian, is regarding listening. Mm-hmm. You see, according to my tests, my hearing isn't impaired, but I still really have to strain to hear certain sounds through the tinnitus, especially through big spikes, when I find it difficult to make out, let's say, the rain or the wind outside, sounds that I used to enjoy listening to. Now, I actually can't hear them because of the tinnitus. Now, as a trained musician, this has probably been the very worst aspect of having tinnitus, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Even though I'm now back playing the piano sometimes, and even when feeling good, strong, and positive, it can be difficult to fully engage in listening. And this is especially true when I'm teaching. Though yes, of course, when I'm feeling good, it's not so much of an issue. But when I'm tired, or like recently when I had a cold, it was really tough. So the reason I'm interested in Paul is because of his description of his tinnitus, that it sounded so loud. When my tinnitus is okay, I still can't hear as clearly as before. But when it goes really spiky, well, I suppose you could argue that at this point my whole nervous system is out of whack. But anyway, basically it's really hard to clearly hear through the T. Should we stop there, or there's about another paragraph?
Well, let's just stop there, because
Okay.
I can respond, if I may. Just just a number of things. But it's very common to get tinnitus in the hearing range when we're losing hearing. And I'm interested in this person, and it sounds like they have had hearing tests, but if they're unable to hear the rain falling or certain kinds of sound because of the tinnitus, I'm curious about that, and I just want to double check that they've been to an audiologist and they've had the appropriate hearing tests, and that their high pitch hearing range is okay. It would be really good to check that. Maybe they have checked it. Because certainly in my own case, when I started losing my hearing in the high frequency range, I had tinnitus in that area. And then when my tinnitus went, I didn't actually have the ability to hear rain or the high pitch frequency in my right ear. It's quite common to get tinnitus when you're losing hearing. That's the worst case scenario. The other thing is that when we are in a state of hyperarousal, sympathetic nervous system, adrenaline, fight or flight, whatever you want to call it, our ability to focus and hear in a clear, coherent, focused way completely changes. So I'm a musician as well. I've played in orchestras and things. And if you're in a state of fight or flight and you're playing in an orchestra, it will be very hard. You will hear everything, and you will hear all the noise in the auditorium, and it'll be very hard to focus on the first violins or on the woodwind section or whatever. Because
I'm trying to guess, because I'm not thinking that I'm not putting you in as a violinist. I'm horn, some kind of clarinet.
No, I was a violinist.
Really, were you?
But maybe that's not the best example. The best example is that if you're in a pub and you are running on adrenaline, you will find it very hard to focus on one person talking to you, because your ears will be automatically picking up all the noise in the pub. So you'll hear the cacophony of every noise coming in. So you'll hear glasses chinking, other conversations that'll sound loud and quite confusing and quite hard to focus on a one-to-one conversation, because in a state of fight or flight, our nervous system is preparing for danger, and so it's desperately listening out subconsciously for the lion or the bogeyman or the thunder or whatever.
Threat.
And so it needs to listen to everything. And it's only when we settle that we can hear and focus clearly, and we can, in a pub, just listen to one conversation and filter out the background noise. When we're well, we have a great ability to filter out the background noise and focus our hearing with great attention. When we're activated and in a state and running on adrenaline, our hearing becomes super open to everything, picks up all noise. And so this has a drastic effect on our ability to focus and hear clearly. And musicians obviously need to have, their hearing is essential for their work. And that has a huge impact. And I've worked with a number of musicians over the years, and when they settle and when they calm and drop into well-being, they often find that their ability to hear becomes much clearer and more focused. And there's one last thing I want to say is, I know this sounds insignificant, but the more I do this work, the more I'm convinced that this is hugely important, is that if we have been exposed to negative messages coming in through the hearing apparatus, if